The discovery. The sun on Aridia Prime was always harsh, bathing the junkyard world in molten hues of burnt orange and deep crimson. Beneath this rusted sky stood Kara Devlin, wiping sweat and grease from her forehead with a ragged cloth. Once a decorated nurse on a human star base, she had fled bureaucracy and rules long ago, choosing instead to find quiet peace amid discarded starships and mechanical ruins. She had made a new life as a mechanic, fixing battered engines rather than healing broken bodies, content to stay far from the politics that had cost her everything. Her small workshop was modest, assembled from the remains of forgotten spacecraft, surrounded by an endless maze of twisted metal and faded glory. Today felt no different from the hundreds before it, until she heard the faintest, weakest sound drifting through the dry, heated air. It was a whimper, fragile and desperate, emanating from behind a crumbling cargo vessel she'd been scavenging. Kara set down her tools, heart quickening at the sound. Her instincts, long trained to heal rather than harm, drew her closer despite the caution ringing in the back of her mind. As she approached cautiously, Kara's heart clenched at the sight waiting in the shadows. Tucked beneath a decaying engine core, a tiny alien creature shivered. Its soft fur was stained with oil and grime, its eyes clouded with illness. The being was no larger than a small dog, but its features were distinctly draconic, delicate scales mixed with downy fur, tiny wings folded against its back, and a long, serpentine tail. Kara knelt immediately, her heart aching with compassion. She had seen pain before, but never like this, not so helplessly abandoned. "Hey there, sweetheart," Kara whispered, extending her fingers gently. The little creature tried to recoil but lacked the strength to move away. Instead, it whimpered softly again, eyes pleading, begging silently for help. The sound cut straight through Kara's heart, reigniting emotions she'd buried long ago. Her medical training roared back to life within her, urging her to act. Gently lifting the pup into her arms, she felt its rapid, uneven breathing and knew instantly that it needed immediate care. The workshop wasn't equipped for veterinary emergencies, but Kara refused to let despair take hold. She carefully carried the small creature back inside, laying it tenderly onto a makeshift cot. Her fingers danced swiftly over her improvised medical tools, cobbling together whatever she had available, antibiotics meant for humans, emergency hydration packs, even her last precious vial of broad-spectrum medication. As she worked, the pup's eyes slowly fluttered open, revealing a striking shade of crystal violet. They looked directly at her, filled with exhaustion but unmistakable trust. "Don't worry," Kara whispered gently, stroking its silky ears. "I've got you." Hours slipped away unnoticed as she stabilized the tiny being, her mind consumed only by the singular purpose of healing. By the time darkness fell, the pup slept peacefully, its breathing steady and calm. But Kara knew this act would not come without cost. Her heart was at peace, yet her gut twisted anxiously. She had broken the first law of the Galactic Medical Authority, treating a creature without authorization. If word spread, she would surely pay the price once more. The confrontation. Dawn broke quietly over the workshop, rays of golden sunlight filtering gently through gaps in the metal roofing. Kara sat quietly, the sleeping pup nestled safely in her lap, breathing steadily. Relief surged within her, she had saved it, and that alone was worth the risk she'd taken. A loud banging at her workshop door shattered the serenity. Her heart lurched as she set the pup carefully aside and stood, dread tightening in her chest. She knew exactly who it was before she opened the door. Jareth Carden, the overseer of Aridia's Salvage Guild and her former employer at the local medical facility. His harsh expression spoke volumes. "I told you last time, Kara," Jareth growled coldly, arms folded tightly across his chest. "No more charity cases. You've violated every regulation we have, again." Kara didn't even try to deny it. "It was dying," she replied evenly, standing her ground. "What else could I have done?" Jareth shook his head bitterly. "Rules exist for a reason. I've already filed the report. You're done, Kara. The guild won't tolerate this insubordination any longer." She inhaled sharply, heart twisting painfully. Her workshop, her only means of survival, depended on guild contracts. Without them, she was stranded, abandoned just like the puppy had been. Yet despite the consequences she knew would follow, she felt no regret, only a fierce determination burning brighter than ever. "Then take your contracts," she snapped defiantly. "I won't apologize for saving a life." Jareth regarded her coldly, his lips thinning into a cruel line. "You'll regret your stubbornness. Compassion won't feed you." He turned sharply, leaving her standing in the doorway. As he vanished into the morning haze, Kara felt tears threaten but swallowed them back fiercely. She wouldn't crumble, not now, not ever. She glanced down at the tiny creature, now awake and curled trustingly in her arms. Its delicate breathing was soft and rhythmic. It stirred, opening those mesmerizing violet eyes again, gazing upward with an innocent trust that nearly stole her breath. She knew then, deep in her heart, she'd done the right thing, even if it cost her everything. This one life was worth it. The day passed slowly, her mind clouded with worry about her uncertain future. She had little money, fewer allies, and a workshop filled with rusted relics and no contracts to sustain her. But despite all that, her heart felt lighter, stronger, filled with a newfound purpose. The little dragon, for that's what she'd decided it must be, had grown stronger throughout the day. It could now lift its head and even manage to eat small portions of the nutrient paste she'd prepared. Its violet eyes followed her everywhere, and she found herself talking to it as she worked. "You're going to be just fine, little one," she murmured, gently cleaning its scales. "I don't know what you are or where you came from, but you're safe now." Night came swiftly again, blanketing her lonely homestead in soft starlight. She had just begun drifting off to sleep when a sudden, powerful rumbling jolted her awake. Bright lights pierced her small windows, flooding the room with stark illumination. Heart pounding furiously, Kara rushed outside, freezing in astonishment. Two massive, gleaming starships hovered above, sleek and imposing, unlike anything she'd ever seen. Her heart raced with panic as the largest ship landed gracefully, its ramp lowering with a quiet hiss. The revelation. From the shadowed doorway of the starship emerged a towering figure cloaked in regal robes, power radiating effortlessly from his imposing form. Kara's heart thumped painfully in her chest. What could possibly bring someone of such obvious authority and power here to her doorstep? He stepped closer, eyes luminous beneath his hood, his voice deep, resonant, and utterly commanding. "Are you Kara Devlin, the healer who rescued my son?" Kara's breath hitched. Her gaze darted down to the pup, now awake and alert, recognizing the figure who now stood before them. With trembling fingers, she held the pup close and asked softly, Who are you?" He lowered his hood slowly, revealing a face both noble and otherworldly. His features were clearly draconic, elegant scales that shimmered in the starlight, eyes that glowed with an inner fire, and an aura of ancient wisdom. "I am Prince Valor of the Lunari Ascendancy," he answered solemnly. "The creature you hold is my heir, stolen and abandoned by those who wished him harm." Kara's heart stopped entirely, realization washing over her in waves of shock. The tiny being in her arms wasn't just any alien creature, it was royalty. A prince. "You have risked everything," Valor continued firmly, "to save my son." Before she could even respond, the prince knelt before her, something she never imagined possible. His voice softened with gratitude, emotion vibrant in every word. "And now, Kara Devlin, it is time for the Lunari to repay your kindness in full." Kara stared, her heartbeat echoing loudly in her ears. Standing before her, bathed in silvery starlight, Prince Valor appeared even more imposing, more majestic than she'd imagined. His silvery white hair flowed elegantly over his shoulders, framing a face etched with quiet authority. His striking sapphire eyes, deep as the night sky, studied her intently, filled with gratitude and unmistakable respect. Your royalty," she stammered softly, glancing down at the tiny dragon now resting contentedly in her lap. The pup seemed entirely unaware of the significance of the moment, innocently wagging his fluffy tail as he gazed lovingly up at her. Valor nodded solemnly. Yes, and the child you rescued is my son, Prince Kale. He was kidnapped from our homeworld by those who sought to weaken my house. They abandoned him to perish alone, believing him lost forever. His voice darkened with controlled fury, a glint of deep sorrow visible behind his regal composure. But you, a human healer without rank or status, dared to show him compassion when all others would have looked away. Kara swallowed, her throat suddenly dry. I just did what felt right, she replied softly. No living thing deserves to suffer. The prince's violet eyes, identical to the pup's, softened with appreciation. And that, Kara Devlin, is why I stand before you today. You gave freely, risking everything to help my heir. Such bravery must never go unrewarded. Kara shifted nervously. I didn't do it expecting a reward. But your sacrifice cannot go unnoticed, Valor interrupted gently, stepping closer. His tall frame cast a protective shadow over her, the power radiating from him undeniable. Our enemies sought to end my lineage, to extinguish the Lunari bloodline forever. They believed humanity weak, driven only by selfish desires. Yet you, Kara Devlin, showed them the true strength of your people, compassion. The words resonated deeply within her, stirring emotions she'd kept buried for so long. Recognition from royalty, validation of choices made from the heart, she'd never imagined receiving such profound acknowledgement. It was overwhelming, humbling, and more meaningful than any award she could have dreamed of. Valor knelt gracefully before her, extending a jeweled amulet that glowed gently with inner luminescence. Accept this token as a symbol of my people's eternal gratitude. With this, you will always have sanctuary among the Lunari. Kara's fingers trembled as she took the amulet carefully, warmth flooding her veins as she held it. Nodding reverently, she whispered, "Thank you, Prince Valor." The prince rose, his presence towering yet somehow comforting. The thanks are mine to give, Kara Devlin. But tell me, what will you do now? Your actions here will not go unnoticed by those who rule this world. Kara's stomach twisted as she remembered Jareth's threats, the severed contracts, her uncertain future. I don't know, she admitted quietly. I've lost everything here. The choice. Prince Valor's expression grew serious as he studied Kara's face. Then come with us, he said simply. The Lunari ascendancy has need of healers, those with both skill and compassion. You have proven yourself to possess both in abundance. Kara blinked in surprise. Come with you. But I'm just a mechanic now, a failed nurse who. You are the woman who saved my heir when trained physicians would have demanded paperwork first, Valor interrupted firmly. You are exactly what my people need. Little Prince Kale chirped softly in her arms, nuzzling against her chest as if understanding the conversation. His violet eyes looked up at her with such trust and affection that her heart melted completely. Kara began, then stopped. What did she really have left on Aridia Prime? A workshop without contracts, a reputation in ruins, and the constant threat of further persecution for showing basic decency. You would be our chief medical advisor, Valor continued, sensing her hesitation. You would have resources beyond imagination, facilities that would make your greatest dream seem small, and the freedom to heal without bureaucratic interference. The offer was beyond anything she had ever dared to hope for, but doubt gnawed at her. Why me? Surely you have your own healers, people who understand your physiology better than any human could. Valor smiled for the first time since his arrival, transforming his stern features into something warm and paternal. Because, Kara Devlin, healing is not just about understanding anatomy or memorizing treatments. True healing comes from the heart, from the willingness to see suffering and act despite personal cost. That quality is rarer than you know, in any species. He gestured toward the starship. My physicians are skilled, yes, but they work within rigid protocols. They would have filed reports about finding Kale, sought authorization from multiple departments, and debated proper procedures while he died. You simply acted. Kara looked down at the small dragon prince, who had fallen asleep again in her arms. His breathing was now strong and steady, his color healthy. Such a tiny life, yet it had changed everything. If I come with you, she said slowly, what happens to this place? My workshop. Your tools will be transported to our ship, Vaylor replied. As for the rest. He gestured at the rusted landscape around them. You leave behind a world that punished you for kindness. In return, you gain a civilization that will honor you for it. As if on cue, the sound of approaching vehicles echoed across the junkyard. Kara's heart sank as she recognized the distinctive whine of guild enforcement speeders. They're coming for me, she whispered, clutching Kale closer. Jareth must have reported this gathering as well. Vaylor's expression hardened. Then the choice is no longer theoretical, is it? 3 speeders crested a nearby hill of scrap metal, their searchlights cutting through the darkness. Kara could see armed guild enforcers preparing to dismount, their weapons already drawn. Kara Devlin. Jareth's voice boomed through a loudspeaker. You are under arrest for violation of medical protocols and harboring unregistered alien life forms. Step away from the creatures and surrender immediately. Prince Vaylor stood slowly, his full height and presence suddenly intimidating. When he spoke, his voice carried an authority that made the very air vibrate. You will not touch the woman who saved my son. The enforcers hesitated at the sight of the imposing alien prince and his gleaming warships. But Jareth, either brave or foolish, stepped forward. I don't care who you are, he snarled. She's violated our laws, and she'll face our justice. Kara felt the weight of the moment pressing down on her. Behind her lay her old life, punishment, restriction, and endless bureaucratic cruelty. Before her lay the unknown, adventure, purpose, and the chance to heal without limitations. She looked down at Prince Kale one more time, then up at his father. I accept your offer, Prince Vaylor. I'll come with you. The prince smiled and extended his hand to help her stand. As she rose, still cradling Kale, he spoke in a voice that carried across the entire junkyard. Kara Devlin has accepted the protection of the Lunari Ascendancy. She is now under our sovereign authority. Any who would harm her will answer to me personally. Jareth raised his weapon, but before he could fire, a gentle blue light emanated from Vaylor's hand. The weapon simply dissolved into harmless particles. Your laws have no power here, the prince said calmly. We are leaving, and Kara comes with us of her own free will. The new beginning. As they walked toward the starship, Kara felt the eyes of the guild enforcers following them. But she also felt something else, freedom. For the first time in years, she was walking toward a future instead of running from her past. The interior of the Lunari vessel was breathtaking. Crystalline walls pulsed with gentle light, and the air itself seemed to hum with harmonious energy. Everything was designed with elegant curves and flowing lines that suggested both advanced technology and artistic beauty. Your quarters are prepared, Vaylor said as they walked through corridors lined with viewing ports showing the vast cosmos beyond. Kale will need continued monitoring, but our medical bay is at your disposal. Kara marveled at the medical facilities when they arrived. Equipment she'd only dreamed of working with gleamed under soft lighting. Diagnostic scanners that could analyze cellular structure in real time, regeneration pods that could heal even severe trauma, and synthesis chambers that could create any medication needed. This is incredible, she breathed, setting Kale gently on an examination platform designed for smaller patients. And it is all yours to command, Vaylor said. But first, my son needs his new guardian's full attention. Over the following days, as they traveled toward the Lunari homeworld, Kara discovered that healing came naturally when freed from bureaucratic constraints. Kale responded beautifully to her care, growing stronger and more playful each day. The little prince had taken to following her everywhere, his violet eyes bright with intelligence and affection. More importantly, she found herself working with other patients, crew members who had been injured in various missions, diplomats suffering from stress-related ailments, and even other rescued children from different worlds. Each case taught her something new about alien physiology, but more importantly, each successful treatment reminded her why she had become a healer in the first place. 3 weeks later, as their ship approached the shimmering spires of Aridia Prime, Prince Valor found Kara in the medical bay, where she was teaching young Kale to help organize medical supplies. "He adores you," Valor observed, watching his son carefully sort crystalline medication vials under Kara's patient guidance. "He's a remarkable child," Kara replied, smiling as Kale proudly showed her his work. "Intelligent, compassionate, and incredibly resilient. He's going to make a wonderful leader someday." "Thanks to you," Valor said quietly. "Without your intervention, none of this would have been possible." Kara looked out the viewport at the approaching planet, a world of crystal cities and floating gardens, where technology and nature existed in perfect harmony. "I think I was the one who was saved," she said softly. "I'd forgotten who I was meant to be." As they entered the planet's atmosphere, Kale climbed into Kara's lap, pointing excitedly at the wonders below. "Look, Kara. Home." She hugged him close, marveling at how much her life had changed. On Aridia Prime, she had been punished for showing compassion. Here, that same compassion had earned her a place among the stars and a purpose greater than she'd ever imagined. The ship landed in a spaceport that looked more like a work of art than a functional facility. As they disembarked, Kara was amazed to see crowds of Lunari citizens gathered to welcome them home. But their cheers weren't just for their returning prince, they were also for her. "Word of your deed has spread," Valor explained as they walked through the cheering crowd. "You have become something of a legend among my people, the human healer who risked everything to save a child." In the days that followed, Kara settled into her new role with ease. The Lunari Medical Council welcomed her expertise, especially her insights into treating trauma and her emphasis on treating the whole patient, not just symptoms. She established new protocols that balanced efficiency with compassion, and began training the next generation of Lunari healers. Prince Kale, now fully recovered, had become her constant companion and eager student. He showed remarkable aptitude for healing arts, often assisting in the medical bay and displaying the same instinctive compassion that had saved his life. One evening, as twin moons rose over the crystal spires of the capital city, Kara found herself on her apartment balcony, looking up at the stars. Kale had curled up beside her, now grown to the size of a large cat but still as affectionate as ever. "Do you ever miss it?" he asked in his young but articulate voice. "Your old world?" Kara considered the question carefully. "I miss the sunsets," she said finally. "They were beautiful in their own harsh way. But I don't miss feeling helpless, or being punished for doing what I knew was right." "I'm glad you saved me," Kale said simply, nuzzling against her arm. "I'm glad I found you," she replied, scratching behind his ear fins. "You gave me back my purpose." As she sat there under alien stars, holding the dragon prince who had changed her life, Kara reflected on the journey that had brought her here. She had lost everything on Aridia Prime, her contracts, her security, her predictable if lonely existence. But in return, she had gained something infinitely more valuable, the chance to heal without limits, to be honored for her compassion rather than punished for it, and to help raise a young prince who would one day rule with the same kindness she had shown him. The amulet around her neck pulsed gently with warm light, a constant reminder of the bond between her and the Lunari people. She was no longer just Kara Devlin, the exiled nurse. She was Kara Devlin, chief medical advisor to the Lunari Ascendancy, guardian to a dragon prince, and proof that sometimes the greatest adventures begin with the simplest act of kindness. Looking up at the vast cosmos spread out above her, she smiled. Somewhere out there were other worlds, other people in need of healing, other children who needed saving. And for the first time in her life, she had the power and freedom to help them all. The end.